This video is about taking a visualization, a graph of a polynomial, and trying to write the factored form of the polynomial equation based on the graph. The most important features in this analysis are the x-intercepts, and so identifying those in this graph, we can see that x equal -3 is an x-intercept. It's the variety that cuts straight through the axis. We've been referring to that as a cut through. Another x-intercept occurs here. X equals -1. That's the type that we've been referring to as a bounce. It comes toward the x-axis, touches it, and then bounces away. And the last x-intercept occurs over here at x equal to 1. And this is the type that approaches the x-axis, appears as if it's going to bounce, but then swerves and actually goes through. And we've been referring to that type as a juke. Now, each of these x-intercepts at x equals -3, x equals -1, and x equals 1 will play a role in creating the polynomial equation. So the polynomial equation is going to be equal to some constant times the first factor associated with x equal to -3 will have as its factor x plus 3. Notice the opposite form of the signs here. Now this was a cut through, so that means this factor will be to the first. The second x-intercept, x equal to -1, will have this factor, x plus 1. Now this x-intercept was the variety we've been referring to as a bounce, so that means it's going to be squared. And the last x-intercept at x equal to 1 will have the factor x minus 1, and when it's of this variety, which we call a juke, it is going to be cubed. In the examples that we go through, we will not have any factors to anything higher than the third degree. Now, this coefficient a can be determined by referring to one final point. This point is located at -2, x equals -2, y equal -27, and these two coordinates, x and y, will allow us to figure out the value of a. So p of x, that's the y value, is -27. We don't know a. X is -2. -2 plus 3 will be raised to the first. -2 plus 1 will be raised to the second, and -2 minus 1 will be raised to the third. So we have -27 equals a, and -2 plus 3 is 1, 1 to the first. -2 plus 1 is -1, -1 will be squared, and -2 minus 1 is -3, -3 will be cubed. So we come up with -27 equals a times 1. -1 squared is 1, and -3 cubed is -27. -27 equals a times -27 gives us the result that that coefficient a is going to be 1. So, written in red, this is the final form of the polynomial equation. Y equals a. We've just determined a is 1. X plus 3 to the first. X plus 1 squared. And x minus 1 cubed. This is the factored form representing this polynomial sketch. Now, if we want to check this out, we can go to the calculator, go to y equals, and type in the following: parentheses x plus 3, that's raised to the first, parentheses x plus 1, that's raised to the second, and finally the third factor, parentheses x minus 1, parentheses raised to the third. And let's discuss a little bit setting the window up. The original window on the initial graph ran from -3 to 3 for x. So let's go to window and go -3 for x minimum, 3 for x maximum, and then looking at the y-axis we see it runs down to -50 or so for the smallest y value, and the largest y value something, let's just go with 30, a little bit above 25 anyway, and let's mark that off by tens because that's how it's marked on the original graph. Graph it, see if there's a resemblance to the original graph. Looks almost identical, then we can be satisfied that that's correct.